everyone, here coming at you with another deck profile of a friend, the most annoying member of NDL group, which is a former judge at Konami because he knows everything. So introduce yourself and tell us what deck profile you brought us today.
I usually go by TheDVDuelist. You may know me from some Duelist Network and stuff like that. Today I bring you Crystron's, a preview deck that uses Needlefiber.
So this is a preview deck, just to let you guys know before that. This is a preview deck. When we get Needlefiber, we don't know where we get Needlefiber, but he liked to mess with you cards, same as I, says everybody, but he built something very spicy. So without further ado, start with the deck profile and try to not interrupt as much as possible unless it's something that really needs explanation, because you know the rules as best as anybody in the group.
Of course. So, first of all, free Souls of Near, that's quite obvious.
Of course.
We need them as soon as we can, and as much as we can. Unfortunately, we can't search them in any other way than draw. So, that's about it. Then we go for 2 Rosenix.
Why 2 and not 1?
Because we need the token for our Link monster. He can be summoned using a token and a tuner monster, which is basically the fastest way you can summon him. If you open up with these 2, then it's an instant Link summon.
Because he summoned the tuner and he summoned the token, you say. Okay, Saba.
Okay, next, of course, 3 Smigers.
Search your spells and traps. Of course, only traps, unfortunately.
Yeah. 3 Heist Wyvern.
Search your monsters.
Of course. 2 Parsio Turtles.
Special summon from the hand, for all of you who don't know, so special summon from the hand.
And now the tech card, 2 Unibirds.
Unibirds. Why Unibirds?
No, Unibird is quite a unique card, as its name says. Unibird is a tech to free up your extra monster zone. Basically, if you have one of the big synchros, right here, you can normal summon Unibird. Then after a battle phase, you banish both of them to recycle one of your synchro tuners or any other synchro monster. Then you can special summon the big synchro monster from the banish.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Seriously? Wow, I didn't even know this card even exists.
Exactly.
So you say to me that this is just a stupid way to make even Synchrons more powerful.
Even Synchrons, yeah.
Wow. I didn't see this one coming. Actually, I didn't see that one coming because it's the first time I see this deck, so I didn't see this one coming at all. Okay.
So yeah, that's the tech for cleaning the extra zone and multiplying your field as well. Now let's go for the tuners. I run 1 quick draw Synchron.
Obvious, because he's discard and can be any Synchron and yada yada.
Now 1 Ryan for recycling form and banish.
And he's the one that shuffle himself to the deck after you use him from the banish.
Yeah, of course you can use him to recycle Max C and stuff like that in your banish.
Really?
Yeah, you can do that.
Wow. That's disturbing and annoying.
It is. 3 C3. It's the main tuner of the deck. Basically what it does, it special summons
from the graveyard.
And immediately after it does it, synchro summon by using.
Of course, it's doing your opponent's turn, for all of you who don't know, and it's banish. So it's going with Ryan really, really well. So for all of you who don't understand.
It to summon our level 4 synchro tuner, Quandax.
Okay. We'll get to him in the extra deck, but yeah, so Quandax and everything like that.
2 Quan. He does basically the same with the material from your hand.
So let's summarize it as fast as possible. This one use a monster from your hand, a Crystron monster or a machine monster, any monster, or just a Crystron monster?
Any monster you have in your hand, and you have to summon a machine-type synchro monster.
So he used the monster in your hand, C3 used the monster in the graveyard and banished them, so he put them in the graveyard, she banished from the graveyard, and the Ryan shuffled to the deck and used from the banished pile. Okay.
It's a recycling cycle. That's
interesting.
What's happening here. So that's a proxy for Jet Synchron, obviously because it's one of the best tuners currently in Yu-Gi-Oh! Also, it's an easy Link summon, then special summon from the graveyard, because you can discard to special summon it.
Interesting, actually. So you say that you don't need your hand so much.
I usually don't use my hand, I only use my field. My hand is usually wasted in 1 turn,
and then you use your materials from the graveyard. Interesting, is very, very much interesting. It's kind of working for all of you to understand, just to bring like a meta contender in like back in the day. DDD is working kind of the same. They're like bring out the entire field and then just going on from there next turn. So it's pretty much the same, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, but this deck is designed to be way more annoying than DDD.
Yeah, I understand, but
it only functions in your opponent's turn. During your turn, you barely do anything.
Yeah, but I'm trying to explain it for the viewers how the play style works.
Yeah. So of course,
one max C because it's max C.
And now for the spells.
So a solid chunk of monsters. I believe something like 25-ish?
24, yeah.
24. I was close.
Yeah.
Now for the spells.
For the spells, I run 2 Starlight Junction. Of course, we want to get rid of the opponent's cards as fast as we can. Then, in our turn, we attack.
It's actually a very underrated card, in my opinion.
It's really, not underrated at all. I think it's a little overpowered in Crystron's because
no, not in Crystron, but in other synchro deck.
Other synchro decks, yeah, because we usually don't summon in the opponent's turn. Crystron is all about summoning synchro monsters in the opponent's turn, and each time you do that, you target one card your opponent controls and shuffle it into the deck. So, bye-bye field, then attack directly.
And then...
Now I run 1 Crystallic Potential.
For all of you who don't know what Crystonic Potential does, a lot of people think it's bad, but I think it's let you draw up to the number of synchro summons in the turns that you did, something like that.
It's a little situational, but yeah. You draw the number of Crystron monsters you summoned in your opponent's turn. Crystron synchro monsters. So it's kind of situational, but I do summon a lot of Crystons. On average, I would summon 3 Crystron monsters during my opponent's turn.
Synchro summon 3 synchro monsters.
Synchro Crystron monsters, yeah.
Wow.
On average. So it usually gives me 3 draws if I need it. But usually I won't need that field, because I'd rather clean my opponent's field.
Interesting. Very interesting, actually.
Next we have 2 Terraformings, of course.
Of course, makes sense.
Foolish Burial, because all of my Crystron non-tuner monsters are in
have effect in the graveyard, and unfortunately you can only use one of their effects once per turn.
Yeah.
So that's really helpful for that.
Now we have 2 Pot of Acquisitiveness.
Because it shuffles your banish pile?
Yeah, it recycles my cards and I draw also. Now
it's actually one thing to let you guys know, for all of you who don't know, it can even shuffle your opponent banish cards.
Yeah,
so it's actually really awesome sometimes to just troll your opponent.
Also, it's a quick spell, so on Crystron, when your banish fills up in piles, you can activate it during your opponent's turn, then recycle, draw, and then you can draw one of the cards you recycle later.
Huh, that's actually kind of white-handy.
Yeah. So, let's go for the traps. Now, I run 2 Crystron entry. I can tell you it's the brickiest trap ever invented in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it requires 1 tuner in your hand and 1 tuner in your graveyard.
Okay.
So it usually doesn't happen that I can actually activate that card.
But
it's good when you discard it with Soulful Snare. Because you can discard any Crystron card to the graveyard to special summon it.
So you use it for the effect in the graveyard.
For effect in the graveyard, which you can banish it from your graveyard after the turn it was sent there. Then you can send 1 Crystron monster from your deck to the graveyard and target 1 Crystron monster you control. It becomes that level. So you play with the levels. That's the point of this card.
Okay.
Game of levels.
And it's also Foolish Burial a monster, actually, no?
Yeah, basically.
So that's actually pretty good as well. So
it's a double plus, but only when it's in your graveyard.
Yeah.
In your hand, it won't
it's pretty much a break.
Okay, 3 Crystron Impact, which is also obvious.
It's pretty useful.
You want to recycle as many monsters from your banish as you can,
and
including the new Link monster that can be recycled from your banish.
And it's also protection, so it's really nice as well.
Now for the more interesting traps, I run 2 King's Synchro.
That's actually a card I didn't expect to see as well.
Exactly. The point of this card, and basically one of the tags around in this deck, is to synchro summon in the most alternative ways possible.
Okay.
Like, not orthodox synchro summons with 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner and stuff like that, but alternative synchros. For example, I have my Unibird, which is an alternative way to synchro summon from your graveyard. It's not counted as a synchro summon, but you summon a synchro monster to your main monster zone, which is a big plus.
Okay.
And then this guy, this King Synchro, allows me to even target a synchro tuner I control, banish another tuner from my graveyard and that card, and synchro summon.
That's
so basically
good.
it's a very weird tech, but it lets you synchro summon with 2 tuners,
Wow.
which is amazing. It's literally the most twisted way to synchro summon in Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's actually can work really well. A lot of people
Yeah.
just underrated cards, and I love it.
And
I
since
really
it's a
do.
special summon that counts as a synchro summon, you don't have to do all the materials required, so you can summon this guy with only 2 materials, except rather than 3. It's maybe a little less effective, but it's 2 materials, and you banish 2 cards your opponent controls.
Huh, that's actually kind of white-handed. And then the last trap
The last
is...
trap is Level Retuner, an unknown trap nobody ever knew about.
Reduce the level of one face-up monster you control up to 2.
Yeah, basically.
I think it's shown in the anime, I think, at some point. But
Maybe, I think so, but it's meant to summon the big guys. Because
Why?
it's really hard to reach level 12 on your field. You have to do a lot of pre-planning and a lot of summoning and playing your field and try to avoid your opponent's trap so much.
So you say it's kind of a level modifier.
It's a level modifier to your convenience.
So it's a level modifier without using level eater or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
It's an interesting way to actually reduce your monster's level. And that's pretty much it for the trap, you say, right?
That's it for the main deck.
How many cards in the main?
40 cards, of course.
40 cards, okay. And now we'll move on for the extra deck, which
Yes.
where everything interesting, I think, starts.
So let's start with our synchro tuners. First we have, of course, Formula Synchron.
Of course. One of the best synchro tuners, and I think probably one of the 2 first ones, to be honest.
That's actually the first one.
But we also have the TG one before that, haven't we?
Probably, I think so, but
It doesn't really matter, but one of the 2 first one for sure.
Yeah. So, of course, you can summon it with your token that you summon with Rosenix.
Yeah.
Also, you can summon it with your Link monster, which banishes
Because-
itself during your opponent's turn to summon a synchro tuner.
It banish itself or send itself to the graveyard?
Banish itself.
Okay.
So this one gives you a draw. That's really cool. And you can use its effect to synchro summon during your opponent's turn, which is also a plus in Crystron. That's the point of the deck.
And it actually can be useful in any decks that can actually use Needlefiber, because you just synchro to change like something in your opponent's turn, if I understand it correctly. Like you use something on, for example, one of your useful monster, you just use it to bring out a better one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, next I run 2 Quandax.
Probably the main card of the deck, you say?
Yeah. So it's the same as all other synchro tuners. It lets you synchro summon during your opponent's turn.
Okay.
Other than that, it has all the effects that all the Crystron synchro monsters have. You just special summon one non-synchro monster from a graveyard when it's destroyed. One non-synchro Crystron monster.
Interesting.
That's just the basic move of the deck. You summon him with your Link monster when
Okay.
it's banished.
And then the last one is
The last synchro tuner is, of course,
Axel
Axel
Synchron, because it can manipulate its level.
Yeah, you can manipulate its level using your main deck with your Jet Synchron.
And it's also Foolish Burial stuff, which is really cool.
Jet Synchron also recycles itself by discarding a card. So you'll have 2 monsters on your field when you have them.
Interesting. And then for the rest of the Synchro monsters, what do you have in store for us?
Okay, so I'll go up with the levels. Level 5, Crystron Matrix. When this card is synchro summoned, all your opponent's monsters are changed to defense position.
Okay.
So this is the most basic card you will summon with our beloved C3. C3 plus any of the level 3
3s.
monsters you have, which is those 2.
Smyger or a Matrix?
Smyger with Ice Wyvern.
No, not... Yeah, sorry, I said a Matrix because of him.
Yeah. So that's the regular combo you'll be doing in this deck. You'll summon that card. Now, when you have that card on your field, and this Link monster on your extra zone, you can banish it
Summon...
to bring out this guy, and then you have 9.
And you can summon one of your bigger guys, which we'll get to in a sec.
Exactly.
So, what do you have for the big guys? How much do you run of each of them?
Before the big guys, we'll go through 2 generic synchro
levels.
monsters. high-speed raid kendama, and
Japanese one.
Japanese one because I like the jump promos.
You do have the original one.
Of course, but I like collecting the jump promos, and I thought to myself, why not? It's an ultra rare.
And of course Black Rose Dragon,
Black Rose
because it's clear the field, it's just a reset button.
Yeah. So the reset button, like you said, it's very easy to summon, especially with King's Synchro, which gives you easy access to this card, and
that's why you don't need in the main deck,
turn.
kind of like, don't need in your main deck Darkhold or Raigeki, so...
Yeah, I can do that whenever I can. I can recycle it with Unibird.
Huh. Really cool.
Next, we have Kendama, like I said, just a level 6 machine type.
And can even resummon itself and banish cards to deal damage, if I
Yeah, you
recall.
can banish cards to deal 500 damage to your opponent once
Machines,
per turn.
I think.
Machine type monsters from a graveyard.
It's your entire deck, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. It's my entire deck, except maybe 2 or 3 cards. And that's basically a +1 in your banish when you need to use it.
Okay.
500 damage to your opponent and a level 6 machine type synchro.
And it's also resummon itself, if I believe
Yeah, if
correct.
it's destroyed by an opponent's card effect during your standby phase, you can give up on your normal summon to
and
special
get...
summon it.
Most of the time it's actually worth it, to be honest.
Yeah, in Crystron specifically it is, because you barely normal summon.
Yeah, and it's also a level 6, so it does help you a lot.
Yeah. So now the big guys.
Start with the Crystron ones, because it's probably the most interesting.
2 Crystron Phoenix. When this card is synchro summoned,
Okay.
you can banish all of your opponent's spell and trap cards in the field and the graveyard.
Why 2 and not 1? Most people run only 1 because...
Because I usually banish one of them with Unibird, and the second
Okay.
one comes from the extra deck during your opponent's turn.
Huh.
So I have 2 on the field, then the next turn is an OTK.
Wow. I didn't see that one coming. And then
Next.
the last big Crystron guy.
The other big Crystron, I really cannot pronounce his name correctly.
Don't bother.
So when he is synchro summoned, you can target cards on your opponent's field up to the number of cards used for the synchro summon,
Okay.
and banish those cards on the field and in the graveyard. Basically, you need at least 2 or more tuners to summon him.
course.
So it's kind of difficult to come by, unless you have the synchro tuners. So, like I said, King's Synchro is an excellent tech to bring into the field.
Okay.
And last but not least, Blazer.
One Blazard.
420 Blazed Dragon.
Oh my god, this card is so beautiful. And it's really, really powerful and underrated
Of
too.
course. This is kind of rare to summon it during your opponent's turn, but it's possible, and when you do, your opponent usually quits. So,
Yeah, I
It's worth
guess,
it.
because it can just like tribute himself and return itself back.
yeah, to the main monster zone, which is the important part.
And it's a 4,000 monster, god
Now,
damn it.
one of the most controversial things in this deck is
Of course,
3 Needlefibers.
the card that we're actually proxying because we don't have it yet, and hopefully it will be here soon, Needlefiber. So what Needlefiber does, for all of you who don't know, and why he's so much good in this deck particularly, even though in other decks he's actually pretty amazing. Just explain to us.
So Needlefiber, when he's link summoned, you can special summon 1 level 3 or lower tuner from your deck, but you cannot activate its effect during the
Doesn't
same
really
turn.
matter for Crystron.
Yeah, Crystrons activate their effect only during their opponent's turn.
Okay.
So you just special summon 1 tuner and wait for your opponent to do stuff.
Huh.
Why 3? Because of all the counter traps your opponent may have and the hand traps. Of course, because of this card special summons from your deck, then your opponent can go, what's it called, Ash Blossom with that.
Ash Blossom, and it doesn't really matter, you say.
And yeah, well, it's very splashable, this card. It's destroyed almost immediately when it's summoned, then you need an R1.
I think it's an excellent card and a very, very good move by Konami for making like a Link monsters that's so good for all synchro decks.
And a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. I get what you mean. We know the normal joke, money, but
Yeah.
it's still really useful for us players. And it's finally that they did that was really useful. So that's pretty much it for the deck profile,
Yeah,
right?
that's it for that profile.
So hope you guys enjoy, and don't forget to like, subscribe. Once again, we're starting with a new team probably. So yeah. And remember, creativity is the key in this game. Like you saw in all the last videos, we try to do kind of something different for you. So yeah, have a good day, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next video.